What's up gamers, Cryptico here, and welcome back to Lowering the Mark, a show where I analyze the current and former world records of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe time trial runs to see how these records get faster over time. We'll look at elements such as the loadout, racing lines, and mushroom usage to better understand what's bringing these times down. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit the notification bell to be the first to know when my videos go live. For today's episode, we're taking a look at the course I've been meaning to do but just keep putting it off for some reason, Dolphin Shoals at 150cc. On April 28, 2017, the world record for this run was set at 2 minutes 1.206 seconds by the Japanese player Naoto. Fast forward to a few weeks ago on February 4th, 2021, where the record was brought down to 1 minute 55.217 seconds by fellow Japanese player Furyuhiro. That's a massive 6-second improvement between records and a 5% faster time. Our former world record holder Naoto has broken 16 world records across 6 unique runs and has only spent 2 weeks holding at least one world record, or in other words, the exact same stats from last episode. Our current world record holder Furyu has broken 31 world records across 5 unique runs and has spent over 1,000 days holding at least one world record. The one we're taking a look at is the only one he holds, and it's what's keeping that streak alive. At pre-release, the world record was well above 2 minutes, but it wouldn't stay that way for long as we got the first sub-2 time within a few days after release. From there, a healthy mix of players took it down to 158 and then 157. At the time, German player K was the player to beat after he put up some pretty strong records up to that point. Furyuhiro was the player that actually did beat him. From May of 2018 to now, every record on this course belonged to him. He would grab the next 2 second breaks on his way down to 155 and put up 5 records that held for at least 100 days, establishing a reign on this course that's lasted over 1,000 days and is the second longest ongoing world record reign in the game. In total, the world record was broken 55 times by 14 different players. Now, these loadouts are basically the same, but there are a few differences I should probably go over. Both racers are whipping the Streetle cart with a variant of the roller wheels, but Naoto goes with the Heavy Me character at the wheel and the parafoil glider, while Furyu goes with Link and the paper glider. Now, the cart and wheels both yield the same stats, so any difference comes from either the character or the glider option. We see that Naoto has the half-point edge in top speed, and that's because he chose to go with Wario. On the flip side, Furyuhiro has the edge in handling because he picked up the paper glider. Those are the only major differences between the loadouts, but Furyu also has a slight edge in acceleration and mini turbo, which aren't as important for this run, but extra speed is always welcome in time trials. I'm gonna be honest here, I don't care for this course and I probably never will. The fact that we're underwater for most of it makes everyone slide around and it gets annoying when we bump into each other. The only cool thing about this course is the music, but other than that, it's D tier at best. Naoto starts off the race with a rocket start and hops into a quick mini turbo around the first turn. From here, he just stays on a straight line all the way off this first ramp, but he doesn't hit the jump boost for whatever reason. After that, he just takes a long drift around the second turn and picks up 6 more coins before the end of this section. Furyu also hits the rocket start, but hangs on to that first drift a little longer in order to get a super mini turbo and a couple of jump boosts before starting that same wide second turn. He cuts to the inside after collecting those 3 coins and gets an ultra mini turbo. That initial super mini turbo and extra jump boost help him gain an early lead on Naoto, and we haven't even gotten to the main time save yet. Right now though, Furyu leads Naoto by over half of a second going into S2. Naoto goes straight into this ocean crevasse and hits 2 of the jump boosts off of these water pipe things. When he lands on the other side, he hits a 3rd jump boost to get on top of this giant fish and hit a whole bunch of jump boosts on his extra long fin as he makes his way to the final section of this course. Furyu instead goes off to the right water pipe for a jump boost up to this platform and hits the zipper and jump boost before landing on another zipper and jumping onto the fish, where he hits an impressive chain of jump boosts on his way to the end of this section. Going to the right like that definitely saved him a lot of time because of that extra zipper, but all of those jump boosts were the real contributor to Fuyu's 1.5 second lead over Naoto at the end of S2. After hitting that quick jump boost to get out of the water, Naoto just hits a tight turn and grabs a super mini turbo on his way to 2 jump boosts, one of which being a glider ramp. When he lands, he'll hit a quick mini turbo and use his first mushroom to cut out the final turn on his way to the finish line. Furyu hits that same jump boost and tight turn, but instead grabs an ultra mini turbo that he'll carry into the jump boost and off of the glider ramp. Now we gotta pause here real quick because what's about to happen is a bit confusing and I'll explain it more on lap 2. Fuyu heads off the glider ramp, uses his mushroom just before the end, and uses the motion glider technique to come flying through the final turn into a quick mini turbo before the finish line. That's another major time save that Fuyu takes advantage of, even though he didn't use his mushroom on the ground. We'll unpack that more here in a second, but for now, Fuyu has basically put this race out of Naoto's reach as he leads by well over 2 seconds at the end of lap 1. Through S1, not much changes for Naoto. He still hits that quick mini turbo around the first turn, but instead chooses to avoid both ramps and stay on a pretty strict line all the way through the second turn, in which he gets that same super mini turbo. Unlike Naoto, Fuyu is riding out the momentum of the previous lap and snakes together a quick mini turbo before going into that longer first turn for the super mini turbo. He hits these two low tricks on both ramps before taking that same tight turn around the second bend, but grabs an ultra mini turbo as he veers toward the right for S2. This section was more or less the same for both racers, but it's even more obvious that Fuyu is tackling it much better than Naoto because of those two low tricks he got. His lead now sits at just over 2.5 seconds at the end of S1. Naoto does the same thing through this section as he did on lap 1, which would be slowly gliding through the middle of the crevasse and grabbing jump boosts off the fin of this fish. Only thing worth noting is that he got one more jump boost than he did on lap 1. Let's take a closer look at why this is faster. Going off the jump boost and hitting this extra zipper is one thing, but the realest time save is how tightly Fuyu takes this descent here. Since he's underwater, he falls a little slower I think, and as a result, he can glide a little longer to get this optimal position for the next jump boost onto the next fish. Once on the fish, Fuyu grabs a ton of jump boost as he closes out this section where he leads by over 3 seconds going into S3. Now we can just glance over Naoto's S3 because it's just as boring as we remember from lap 1. Plus, you're probably more interested in what Fuyu is about to do, so let's take a look at that. Off of that first jump boost and ultra mini turbo, Fuyu is setting himself up for a pretty unique glider. After drifting slightly off the ramp, he rides out whatever boost he had left from that mini turbo and angles himself just right so he can use his mushroom and activate motion controls in the air in order to unlock better air handling and faster speeds as he glides well past where the game had intended while keeping all of that speed. This is one of the more difficult motion gliders to pull off because you have to watch out for that wall on the left as you glide through the final turn. Otherwise, you're going to be facing backwards if you hit it. Obviously, this is light work for Fuyu as he's pulled it off twice now and comes across the finish line, leading by almost 4 seconds after outsplitting Naoto's lap 2 by almost 1.7 seconds. For lap 3, we see more of the same things for both racers. One quick mini turbo and one longer super mini turbo around the first turn, those low tricks from Fuyu and good lines from Naoto, and a tight second turn heading into S2. Naoto goes right over the crevasse and grabs a pair of jump boosts, while Fuyu goes off to the right for that tighter line to the fish, where both players grab quite a bit of jump boosts on the back of that weird fish. Once they fall off, it's one more tight turn around this large bend where ultra mini turbos are to be had as one player hits a normal glider and the other literally pauses the game so he can hit a better one. After all of that, both racers come through the finish line where you already know Fuyu lit it up one last time and ended up posting a time that was almost 6 seconds faster than Naoto's former world record. So by hitting more mini turbos, taking better lines, and utilizing motion glider near the end of the course, Fuyu was able to further assert his dominance under the sea. There's so much to unwrap with this run, and I wish I got to chat with him about it, but sadly we couldn't make that happen, so let's just jump ahead to the best known splits. It's probably no surprise that Fuyu owns all 3 of these splits, but what is surprising is how far apart these splits are. On one hand, you have the splits that are tenths faster than the world record split, and on the other hand, you have splits that are right on the world record split. The best known lap 1 still has about a tenth that can be knocked off, but not as much as the best known lap 2. With 3 whole tenths to be knocked off, this lap is without a doubt the one that can be improved the most. One lap that doesn't need any improvement, however, is lap 3, in which the best known split is the world record split. Fuyu probably knows that another second break is more than possible, and it's likely that he'll go for it in order to keep his reign on this track alive. Or maybe someone else will come along and disrupt it. The worldwide top 10 consists of 4 national record holders and only 2 continental record holders. Furuhiro stands alone, well over half a second ahead of fellow Japanese player Raibi in second, and Spanish record holder Alberto sits in third with one of only 3 155s in the world. Japanese player Nanapio and French player C90 go 4 and 5 with a little over a tenth separating them. Ronnie and Nanase go 6 and 7 with just over half a tenth separating them, and the trio of Stare, Rocks, and Army round out the top 10 with only 2 100ths of a second separating them. Yeah, that thing I said about someone else disrupting Fuyu, I was wrong. Ain't nobody dropping 7 tenths off their best time out of nowhere like that. Unless one of these clowns is hoarding a world record. But nobody has ever done that, right? That's the end of episode 37, and boy was it a long one. I know a few of you wanted this course, and I'm glad I finally got around to making this episode. Hope it was worth the wait. If you enjoyed this video, like and share it with your friends, and comment on which course you'd like me to analyze next. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.